Yeah.
Yeah, first starting, I mean, honestly, for those who've been in this industry for 20 years, your biggest issues weren't really on the cybersecurity front at all. It was more systems being up, people being able to get work done, which is still, our number one concern today. I remember at one point, I noticed Craig jumped on the call, so I'll call him out there, but he and I worked together and we had a long discussion about, what's the most important thing in law firm IT. And this has probably been well over 15 years ago. And it was systems uptime and user support and all that. Cybersecurity wasn't even on the radar. But over time, it's one of the things that is still not on a lot of people's radar, or is only in cursory manner, like checking the box. We have this documentation, we have this plan. But back then it was just systems uptime, keeping things up, making sure things are working, and that's all you focused on. And there's a lot of IT guys in the area that do not make that shift to, well, now what do we have to do?
Yeah. Yeah. So you were I know you for a while, you were running kind of the ILTA group. Tell us a little bit about that. And what were some of the trends you were seeing when you were, networking with a lot of IT directors of law firms?
Well, there was the initial phase of denial. Law firms aren't big enough. I'm not a big enough, target. Well, the small law firm that works for a big company is the ideal target. So a lot of what we saw was just the awareness. We went through a long period of time. There's one firm, popular firm, multinational firm that got compromised. And immediately after that, that sparked a lot of conversation. In ILTA, it was like literally, I think, a month before the big conference. And so at the conference, everyone was just buzzing, talking about it. And after that, literally every firm that had a cybersecurity initiative got it approved. So it was kind of nice. But
what was the breach that happened there?
That was the big firm with the three letters that everybody knows. They had built a system where every office could access every bit of data in every other office. And the speed and the slickness at which they could have that access turned out to be a big problem when they got ransomware. It could spread through site to site. So that's when we started evaluating, do I really need to have universal access to everything? Or do I need to be a little more granular? I think that was kind of the start, at least for law firms, that more of a zero trust mentality, least privileges. Do you really need to have access to this? What's the big deal if you have to authenticate one more time to get to this, sensitive piece of data? So that was an exciting time.
Did when that happened, like what were the things that you did like right away in your organization? Because were you at Higgs at that time?
Yeah. And I think the first thing was to get my cybersecurity initiative to have a managed services security provider on the ticket. That was my number one. But no, it was establishing multi-factor authentication and making sure, because that's the other big gateway in. A lot of people weren't doing it at the time. It seemed like, it's not really needed. But that would have limited down a lot of the access if they had that in place. One bad set of credentials can ruin everything. So that was the first thing I think we focused on. But there's a bunch of, kind of defense in depth steps we took. And that was one of the first ones, is making sure everything's got two-factor on it.
Yeah. That's pretty good.